Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Mindful Podcast, um, Mindful Living Podcast. Today we have Pablo Gonzalez as a guest. He's going to be talking about meditation, how he got into it, how has it helped him, maybe some words of wisdom that he can give us. Just to give you a little bit of a background on how Pablo has impacted my life. Um, he is ever since what we met 2007, he has been someone that has been a mentor and a guide to me, and someone that I say and I often think to myself, what would Pablo be thinking or saying about this conversation, and what the approach would he be having, and often when I catch myself struggling with something, I'm like, okay, I can almost hear his voice saying something of acceptance, something that I need to work on, or that. So he's been you've had a great impact in my life, and I strive to be how you carry yourself, how you handle situations. Like I've said it before, one thing that impacted me a lot was the way you dealt with your daughter's death. That's engraved in my mind, and it will forever be there, being there and seeing you, and how you, through all that pain, you were so graceful and accepting, and what you said at church is still very impactful, and sit this with me and says, well, if Pablo was able to deal with this and can help with this and can find uh, the light through this, then I can also achieve, I can also get through this, I can also find a way. So yeah, looking forward to what he has to show us, what he has to teach us today. um how you doing, Norma?
I'm uh, I'm a little better than yesterday. I think the episode that we recorded yesterday was really helpful for me to just kind of debrief, feel with the elections, with the result of the election. Today I'm feeling a little bit more grounded. Yeah,
Okay, cool. How you doing, Pablo? And if you remember, you can't say good, okay? That's the rule of the podcast.
that's our rule. We cannot say good.
Okay, I'm doing okay, I would say. Um, for today, every day it's a different day, um, and I just want to thank you for your words of in during the introduction. And I'm glad you got that impression of me because I wasn't feeling that way really.
Yeah, of course.
um, it was a very difficult time, yes, indeed, and it continues to be at times. But you know, the practice, this practice of meditation has taught me that um, nothing lasts forever. Everything changes, and including ourselves. And so the person that you met, uh, you know, in 2007 uh, is in me, but it's no longer that person.
Hmm.
And the person that you met last time I was on your show is not the same person that is present here today.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so next time we meet, we'll probably, and neither are you too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
neither are you too. And
Hmm.
so that's the wonderful aspect of life, that nothing stays still. And so everything is a new beginning every minute. So if we look at it from that perspective, I think that we have the opportunity to change the direction of our lives, not only the way we think, the way we see things, and the way we are. Um, Now, I started um, into this practice um, about 15 years ago. It was like 2009, 2008, around that. I was still working at Skyline. Do you remember Skyline College where you
Hmm.
attended? And one day a flyer um, came to me. I don't know from where, but it was just inviting counselors to a half-day retreat at the Zen Center on how to converge traditional psychology methodology with Eastern philosophy, psychology and psychology. Um, so it sounded interesting, so I attended, and I must say that that half day retreat. I don't like to use the term life changing, but in a way, it changed my perspective of how I saw my role as a counselor. I saw the way I saw myself as a person. And so after the half day retreat, um, I went into the Zen Center to explore what they had and found out that they had a Spanish Sangha, which is a group of practitioners that met every Tuesday evening, and I joined. I was interested, curious, uh, looking for something more than, I guess, what I was facing in my life at that time. And so I attended the Sangha. We were studying with a wonderful teacher who was very, very open, very happy, very joyous person. And we we were reading the book by Suzuki Roshi, one of the founders of the Zen Center, called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And although I couldn't understand much of what he was talking about, somehow it resonated in me, and it made me feel that there was it was speaking to me.
Hmm.
It went beyond the intellectual and it came into the emotional, the body aspect, the body part. And so I stayed there for uh, 2 years, um, and then after that, I found IMC, which is the Insight Meditation Center in Redwood City, and they also had a Spanish Sangha on Tuesday nights. So the choice was, do I stay at the Zen Center or do I explore um, Insight Meditation? And so I decided to go to the one in Redwood City, and I I don't regret it. I've been there ever since. I'm still there studying under um, the teachings of Andrea Castillo, who is a wonderful, wonderful teacher and guide and mentor and human being. And so I began practicing. I began a practice. It's not easy to begin a practice. It takes a lot of discipline and courage. I once heard another teacher said that in order for you to sit and meditate, it takes a lot of courage. And I didn't quite understood what she meant by that until I started my own practice.
Mm.
And I found out that yes, when you open up, when you sit to meditate, you open up to the possibilities that a lot of things can surface. All traumas, all wounds may be open. Um, Situations that you thought were forgotten, and and then how do we handle that? And as a beginner, I didn't know how to deal with that. But through the guidance of the teacher, particularly Andrea Castillo, um, I was able to understand that you know part of the practice is to open up to what is in us and to see it as a friend that has come to show up. Maybe through pain, through joy, through happiness, through loneliness, whatever it may show. It's our job is to open up our arms and treat it like an old friend and just say, I see you. There you are. You haven't gone away. And I thought you were, I was done with you, but apparently not. And so uh, when the emotions arise, our first response is to just see them, observe them. Because if they're too strong, the tendency is to run away, to shut them down, to
Mhm.
hide them, to just say, hey, change the switch, the mind switch, and think
Mhm.
of something positive. Pop psychology tells you, if you have you're having a bad day, just change the focus of attention. But
Mhm.
that may work in the short term, but at the end of the day, you're not dealing with the issue.
Hmm.
Yes.
Those emotions are not going to go away, and so they're going to surface again, and perhaps next time will be in a bout of anger or frustration or depression. And so through the the leading of teachers, I learned to do that, to sit and open up and see if the pain, particularly after our daughter passed in 2010, it was very, very difficult for me to sit and meditate, frankly. And so when the emotions are too strong, the instruction is just, if you could have your eyes closed, open them up, and that will cut off the connection to the emotional output, and then or just get up and go for a walk. And I did that a lot in the first months and years. Uh, the emotion was just too strong. But as the practice deepened, then you learn to stay with that. You learn to see it as a friend. It's and and then as you begin to practice with this, with your emotions, to see them, to befriend them, to honor them, to respect them, to see them not as an enemy, but as an sort of like a guide, to guide you into how to heal, how
Yeah.
to heal that aspect of you. And so the wonderful thing about it is that once you begin to practice and that emotion arises, it has a tendency to just arise and then it has a lifespan and then it disappears. But if
Mm.
we reject it or if we have aversion towards it, it will stick longer for longer.
Hmm.
Yep.
I mean, whatever you resist persists, the saying. And so it's just allowing, just basically allowing. If there's pain, there's pain. If there's sadness, there's sadness. We name it, we call it, we see it. We, if we dare touch it, we touch it. We embrace it so much as a mother embraces a child. And I just open up your arms and relax your body, relax the mind, and see what happens. And what ends up happening most of the time is that it transforms. It's energy. So the the energy of pain touched by the emotion of acceptance or by the a process of acceptance and just being with it, it transforms itself into sometimes into compassion, love, understanding, gratitude. Because it's hard to see underneath it. But if we see underneath it, all these emotions come with a message,
Mm.
with a very clear message that if we are wise enough to see it, it would lead us into the path of healing, of
Hmm.
understanding, of growth.
Mm.
So I've spoken a lot, so I want to give space for you guys to also.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think just yesterday I was paying attention to how I was feeling, and this morning as well, and having that ability to then make the connection. And I've told Norman in the past is like, okay, now I see it as like there's some high level of emotion, something's off, or something needs to be addressed. There's something for me to learn. That's the approach that I have now when I feel some kind of pain, anger, frustration, sadness. Like there was also a situation where I just out of nowhere I got insomnia, right?
Mhm.
And that for some reason it's like stressed me out. Like it gave me like very, very, like it made me feel very anxious. Like I was scared, like I hadn't been in years. And then in the middle of not being able to sleep, I'm like, oh, this is trying to teach you something. There's something for you to go. This is a lesson. This is something for you. This means there's something that you need to address.
Yeah.
And
It,
surely enough, through conversations with Norma, with my wife, with myself, we're just understanding what was happening. I was able to be like, oh, this is why this was so so triggering to you, and this is what was creating you all this pain and this emotion. So yeah, I definitely agree with you, and think that that's also very, it's very true that
Hmm.
it's so painful. I mean, we perceive them as, we don't want to deal with it. We just turn them off, like I said, because maybe that's how we were taught by our parents or whoever raised us in society, to turn those off. Um, but there definitely are the path to growth. 100%, I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I think like the other day I was talking to a client, um and when they're in a situation where they know they need to leave that situation but they don't. And one of the things was that, like, if I let go of this, I don't know what's there for me, like,
Mhm.
afterwards, right? Like the part of, like, the unknown and, like, the pain that they will have to go through with leaving the situation. And I think that is what stops us a lot of the time from actually, like, this part of, like, sitting with it and learning from it. What is the lesson? Because um one of the things I found with clients is this part when we go through pain of, and maybe I'll like to your take on this, Pablo. Going through pain alone, for me at least, and in my personal experience and as a therapist, is what makes it even harder to bear. That's what makes it seem like it's unbearable. Um, in With your experience, with meditation, because it seems like meditation is like going inward, right? And like within, how do you reconcile like that part of like being connected or being in community, or is that something that you just have to kind of go through by yourself when you are in these like painful spaces?
Yeah. Well, when you are in pain, you're with your own self, because the pain is in you. And so if the pain is in me, then I have to find a way to deal with it. And there are many ways of dealing with it. I mentioned one of them is to reject it, to hide it away, to distract it, to numb it with, whatever source of alcohol, drugs, internet, whatever. Um, but the reality is that it's in me, and if it's in me, then I have to understand that the only person that can do something about it is me,
Hmm.
and that's why it takes a lot of courage. That's why, the therapist can walk with me
Hmm.
in this process, but it's not going to solve the issue.
Absolutely.
It's a I can't do anything for anybody about their own pain. I can be there to support them. I can be there to say, this is what has worked for me. Perhaps it can work for you, but it's you have to do it. It's sort of turning the responsibility toward the individual for his own joy, pain, suffering. The Buddha said that there was one cause or one reason for suffering, and that was attachment or desire. And attachment is the unwillingness for us to let go, to
Hmm.
let go of that what we considered is going to make us happy or give us fulfillment, even if it's a painful relationship, because somehow we are being rewarded, or we find something that makes us feel complete, even though it's hurting us.
Whew.
And so well, you know this practice it teaches us to just let go. Let go. It's not easy. It's
Mhm.
simple. It's very simple to understand, but it's very difficult to do because we have been trained in the opposite direction.
Hmm.
We have been socialized to say, this is mine, this is my wife, this is my car, this is my house. Well, in reality, nothing is yours.
It's yours, yes.
Nothing, nothing. The only thing that is yours is your feelings, your emotions. You. That's this body. It's mine.
Mhm.
But this body changes all the time, and it wrinkles and it sags and it'll get old, and eventually one day it will die. So in essence, it's not even mine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, not even that, right? Because
Yeah.
we also have to let go of it,
Yes.
and even through life, like when
Hmm.
we're always changing, right? Like the part, like you're saying, we wrinkle, we evolve physically. So the body that was mine maybe 10 years ago, maybe
Yeah.
a month ago,
Yeah.
is not the same
Yeah.
body, and we're constantly letting go of that.
The body that sat here 20 minutes ago, it's not the same body that is going to get up once this conversation is over.
Oh my god.
Okay?
Hmm.
And neither is the person that sat here. Neither is the person that is sitting here in front of you. And if we get to understand that at that level, that everything changes, nothing remains, then what is the point of holding on to emotions that are hurting us? Because they change all the time too.
Hmm.
Pain doesn't stay. Pain is not the same pain all the time. If you have you know an injury on your leg, I used to play a lot of soccer, uh, got hurt a lot of times. And if you pay attention, the injury that you suffer at the moment that you get hurt, it's not the same injury as when you get up. It changes. The pain, the location, the sensation, the vibration, the palpitation changes, but we don't even notice that. And so if we begin to notice that through this practice that invites us to pay attention to how everything changes, then when the pain comes, it's just watch it and watch it change. It changes. It may come out very strong, and then it has its peak, and then it sort of mellows out. It doesn't remain the same. Never remains. Not neither does joy, for that matter, or happiness. Okay, so if we're joyous, and enjoy being joyous, because it's not going to last. The same way that if you
Yes.
have a you know if you have a pain, sort of appreciate it, because that pain is reminding you that you have a leg or something, that you still have a part of you that feels that pain. And if that part of you that feels that pain is alive, it means it can also feel joy. It can also feel healing. It can go through healing and transformation. And so it's this appreciation of how impermanent everything is, and accepting that in reality, we don't know anything. We can get attached to everything, to material things, to persons, to our children, to whatever. But at the end of the day, you know, it's not going to last.
Hmm. I have a
Going
question for you, because those exact words that you just said right now, somebody told me that somebody else suffers because of that.
of which is attachment.
The thing that everything is not a nothing is like permanent.
Oh,
So
You're saying somebody suffers because nothing's permanent?
yes, somebody suffers and this has extreme, or I don't even know extreme would be the right word, but has severe depression with
fear.
the idea of how nothing is permanent. So then, what is the point if nothing is permanent? Then, so what would you say to someone that feels like that and is getting the opposite thing, and it gets fear and sadness and depression comes from what you're saying, having the complete different idea that it gives you freedom, it gives you peace.
Yeah, it's a complex situation, but I would say that if the fear that drives that energy to feel so insecure or detached from life, because that's really what it is. We can, if we see life as something that is permanent or something that should remain, we're going against reality.
Hmm.
Okay, because reality is one that reminds us that nothing is permanent. And the fact is that as long as we go against reality, we always going to come up in the short end. I can go outside and be depressed because it's raining instead of being, and I want it to be sunny. And I can get as depressed as I want. The fact is that the weather is not going to change for me. Life is not going to adjust to make me happy.
I was
reality
getting
is
ready this morning.
reality is what it is, and we can appreciate it for what it is, or we can fight against it. We had an election 2 days ago. A lot of us are not happy with it, but the reality is that he will be our next president. So we can fight it and be depressed, and that's fine. Just pick up yourself again and go on with your life. But or we can say, how can we make this world a better world? How can I make this world a better world?
Mhm.
Um, just today, you know, in what you know, i assuming the responsibility that I have as a member of a community, as a human being, of making this place a better world for everybody.
Mhm. It's isn't it Norma? Isn't it crazy that everything we discussed for fucking hours and hours and hours upon time, he's able to just summarize it and put it in such a simple way that applies to everything. Like this is the kind of shit that I'm telling you. Like it's crazy how we discussing it in all these different ways and all these different meanings, but in
Mhm.
reality, it just comes to
Mhm.
that part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That attachment to shit shouldn't be like that, and that's my number one thing that I remember from you, Pablo, ever since back then, that it always comes to my mind. Like, why does it have to be how I say it? Like, what
Mhm.
is it? Why does the world or people have to behave the way that I say it? And just gotta, that means I'm not accepting it, and then okay, I have to ask
Yeah.
myself why I'm not accepting it. But
Yeah.
it feels like, doesn't it feel like everything we discuss,
It does.
everything that we share with the struggles, anything that we've talked about, it just comes to that ability, and it comes to that thing of like forcing something to not be that
Mhm.
just this.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Like the way I don't remember where I heard this, but when we talk about this part of like resisting, when you're talking about like what we resist persists, um like holding on to a una tuna,
Hmm.
un
Hmm.
nopal, like you. And part of my job with clients is letting them know, like, hey, you're holding on to this, why don't you let go? Like, this is hurting you, why don't you let go? um and holding on is what's hurting. It's not the circumstances, it's not that it's raining, it's not that we have this precedent, it's not all of the outside things, but it is the fact that we are holding on to this knowing that
Hmm.
it's hurting us. um so yeah, I think that you are doing a very good job at just like packing it up for us, putting it in with a little bow, just the
Simplifying it.
huh.
Simplifying it.
Yes, yes. Very digestible of like, yeah, the acceptance of impermanence. And it's very hard for people to grasp that. Um, One of the things that I tell my friends, I want to be in this friendship, and I think with any relationship, like I want to be in this friendship as long as it aligns for you and as long as it aligns for me. And every person that I've told that to, they get upset at me because they're like, "So you're telling me we're not gonna be friends?" I'm like, "That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I will be in this friendship as long as it aligns with you and I. If at some point it doesn't, I am okay with walking away." And many of them take it as like me not caring enough for the relationship. But I'm like, no, because I care about this relationship, I'm going to stay as long as it works for both of us. Because if it doesn't, then I'm not going to fight it. I'm not going to hold on to the cactus if it's going to hurt you, if it's going to hurt me. And that is one of the things that I've been trying to practice of. It is okay for me to let go. It is okay for me to let go. And it's very difficult to do. And it's also very, very rewarding once you do see like, oh, okay, this person is no longer in my life. That's okay. I'm grateful for what they've given me, and I wish them the best. It's like the that part of like letting go of the cactus is brings so much relief.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because what it does, what you're talking about is letting go. Is that this acceptance of permanent change. Things are not going to stay the same. It may, the friendship may remain forever, but
Hmm.
the reality is that it may also end tomorrow.
Hmm.
I look back at um, my childhood, my friends. How many of those friends that I couldn't be without back then when I was 10, 11 are part of my life? None
Hmm.
of them. None of them. It's when I go back home to my hometown, I may see some of them, but do I want to spend hours and hours? No. It's nice to see them and say hello, and yes, and then we'll go our merry way. It's and new relationships are formed, and relationships end. Trying to hold on to something. I once heard someone said, I'm not sure who it was, but said, when you think you own something or that is yours, you really don't own that. It owns you.
Hmm.
And so when something owns us, whether it's a commitment to a relationship, a job, or whatever, in essence, we lose our freedom.
Mm.
And so we become captives or prisoners of that we're attached to, that we hold on to. There's a very good, simple example. If you put your hand to receive something, and then you, it's put in your hand and you grasp it, and you said, this is going to be mine forever. Well, you just closed up every opportunity to receive anything else,
Hmm.
because your hand is not going to be able to, unless you let go,
Hmm.
unless you release, unless you open up. And so, in that letting go, that release, that opening up, it's what courage needs to be developed. We have to be courageous enough to let go of that we consider ourselves to be ours. And in that letting go, we open up the possibility for many other things to
Mhm.
come up. You know,
Yeah.
it's like the old telephone, the line telephone that you had, that we all had at home. You, Norma, you're too young. You probably not.
No, no, no.
Okay, okay,
You might think I'm too young.
okay.
I'm 35. So
Oh, okay. You look a
yeah,
lot
like,
younger than that.
thank
All right.
you.
So you know
Um,
about the telephone then.
yes, yes, I do. I
But
do.
just imagine, you have a friend, a very good friend, who you want to call. You want to talk to this friend, but your friend is on the phone with somebody else. It doesn't matter how much you want to talk to your friend, you're not going to be able to do it because the call is not going to come in. The line is busy. In our life's experiences, we're saturated with busy lines because of things that we're holding on to, things that we want to, things that we expect to happen, and we're not open up to what may just be possible. And releasing, letting go, opening up, yes, it makes us vulnerable. Yes, it opens up for harm, possible harm, but it's the only way to live if you really want to experience life. There's no other way. Going through life with your, you know, fist clenched, it's it, number one, you're gonna get tired. Your arms are gonna hurt, and you're not gonna be able to touch anything.
Anything, yeah.
And so we want to open up ourselves to life itself, and let the magic happen, And in this magic, there's everything, There's sadness, there's hurt, there's joy, there's laughter, everything that comprises a human experience.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm
Absolutely.
paying attention to how much you can actually summarize my growth with the ability to do that. Like it just goes back to like, okay, well, why? How have I had this growth, or what has happened? And it's literally that ability to be able to just do that. Because, I mean, I've said it before, but my biggest struggle when I was having my like this the mental health problems where I wasn't able to function was I was so like, I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel this. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel it. Get rid of this. I don't like this. This just sucks. I don't want to feel it. I don't want 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 it. That like just kept bringing it back to my face. So from having that understanding
Yeah.
of like, it's okay, just accept it. Yeah, it might might like how you feel it, but it'll go away and it's okay. And just doing that and accepting that. Now that with everything that you're saying, yeah, it's the reason why I've been able to grow, And I've explained it in like past episodes as like the thing that you're talking about having not holding on to something so tight so that you can receive something else. I've like somehow just made it in my sense of just be open minded that this is where I'm at now.
Mhm.
That has no thing to be like this is the end all be all by any means.
Hmm.
Like I always think, well, like yes, this is how strong I feel about something, but this is how I feel now. Who knows what it'll feel tomorrow? What happened? So I think just having that understanding or having that ability to just be like, yeah, well, yes, I feel like this, but this is just now. I could be wrong. It might change or it might be there,
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, it was something that also was mentioning to my I don't know if I want to call it the client or whatever, but the person that I'm one of the people that I'm helping at the with the mental health stuff, it was the same thing, right? Of like that this was literally the conversation, not in the not as nice in the words as you're saying it, but this was the conversation that I this is what
Not
I
as
tried to
nicely
tell him.
packaged.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I tried what with what I had, right? To explain this to that person to just be like, yeah, well, you're suffering so much because you want certain people to be like this, but that's not the reality, and now you have a choice to deal with that reality. And yes, it could have been painful, and all these things are real, but this is the reality of it. Which I wanna bring something personal because I don't mind sharing it like always. The last time that I saw you, I told you that I wasn't talking to my mom, right?
Yeah.
And by you not telling me anything, and by just the like the kids say the aura, whatever energy you have within yourself, when I left, I was like, fuck, there's something missing. There's something that I need to grow. There's something's off. Like that feeling of like I feel like there's something that, and I've been struggling for a couple of months, and then once again through conversations and to looking within myself, I was like, okay. Once I realized that all that pain that was passed on to me had nothing to do with me, it gave me the freedom to love her and for who she is, and accept her for who she is, and understanding that it was what she was carrying within herself, and
Mhm.
understanding that it wasn't me. It wasn't
Yeah.
me, and it just now is just that that shit that I've been hiding, that I haven't been looking at, that I had been feeling, that I thought this is the end of this. This is how it's gonna be. Like this is where I'm at, and this is where it's gonna be from the thing, and this is what's right for me. I allowed myself to. Yeah, it just goes back to what you're saying. I allowed myself to feel that I needed her in my life, and I wasn't gonna attach myself to who I was in the past to say no. But you're saying that it's okay to have no contact, and you're saying all this shit, and you're putting yourself out there. I was able to let go of that and understand that, and now it's like I love you and I accept you for who you are, and it's okay. You don't have to be any different. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
I'm happy with whoever you are. I'll accept as little or as much as you can give, and I accept who you are as a person and as a package.
She will give you whatever she is able to give, and no more than that.
Mhm.
Okay? Given just with me, I'm able to give whatever I can give, or I see myself as able to give.
Hmm.
It doesn't mean that's what it is, but at this time, this is what it is.
Hmm.
And so if it's, if it's little or a lot for somebody, or, um, then they will decide that, not I. But at this moment, this is as much as I can give. And
Hmm.
your mom is in a situation, knowing the background of, you she's giving you as much as she can,
Hmm.
no more, no less.
Yeah.
It may not be enough for you, but that's all she can.
Yeah. It is.
That's a you thing.
It is.
Yeah,
Like it doesn't. That's the difference now, right? Because it was then again wanting so much fucking more
right,
and
right.
wanting to get everything, and like it shouldn't have
Mhm.
been like this, and I want this, but now I'm like, no, it's okay, it's
Yeah,
fine. Whatever you give me, it's okay, and
yeah,
I'll take that, and that's more that I can wish for, and that's all fine. Whatever it is that you can provide and you can give me, I'll take it wholeheartedly and open heartedly. You know.
Yeah.
yeah. That's like when you asked me about your mom and I didn't say anything. I didn't feel like I had anything to say. It's like you have to find it within yourself. And the fact that you share it with me, that you have the trust and you open up to sharing that it was very intimate. It was a gift for me. It's a gift. And what can I give you back? But my support, my presence,
Hmm.
my ability to hear you, to listen to you. And sometimes words cannot, you know, are not needed. Some of the best conversations I had with students was when I didn't say anything.
Yes.
I just listened to them, and then they would come back and say, "Oh, thank you. The other day that I came by your office, you really helped me." I go, "Oh, good, good. I'm
Yeah.
glad you stopped by." And
Yeah.
I said, but if I ask them, "What did I say?" They will not remember. And
Mm.
that's not the point. The point is not so
Yeah.
much but it's the gift of presence. And your mom gave you that gift of presence for many years. So cherish that.
Yeah.
Just accept it, and don't, the expectations that you have now, um, are not going to change her. It's like life. It's not going to change just for you or for me. But I wanted to bring two of the teachings that really made a difference for me, and I think it can make a difference for you and for your clients, Norma.
Hmm.
It's the teachings of karuna and metta, which is compassion and loving kindness. And so compassion in the Buddhist way has two components. One is um, seeing the pain or recognizing the pain on others. And then the second aspect of it is the intention to do something to alleviate the pain. So it's not just recognizing that someone may be, going through a difficult time. Is this intention that comes from within, from the heart, that is willing to do something to alleviate that pain. And sometimes that doing something is just being there.
Mm.
It's not saying anything. It's just, or just maybe just say, I hear you. I may not know how you're feeling, but I understand what you're going through. And if you need someone, here I am. You need someone to talk to, you know, I'm here. And so other times it requires for us to, roll up our sleeves and get into the muddy waters and do something, like, get out of this, what are you doing, have a little respect for yourself. I mean, it's like, but compassion can be harsh sometimes. It's not always a soft, loving kind of just being nice. But no, no, compassion is again understanding the pain and then just saying, um, what can I do to alleviate the pain in this person, and doing it, go with it.
Yeah.
So that's compassion. Metta, which is loving kindness, is the intentionality of the heart to wish well to all human beings, even Donald Trump. As hard as it may be,
Oh my God.
as
Yes.
hard as it may be,
Yes.
you know, don't hold on to that tuna. Okay, release it because you're only hurting yourselves. And so when we hold grudges and pain and um, resentment towards other people, we're only hurting ourselves. We know that.
Yeah.
At some level, we know that. And
Yeah.
so the 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 practice of loving kindness is sending love and wishing the best for everybody, from the person that cuts you off on the freeway, or the cuts in line in front of you at Costco, or the person that pushes you aside because it's in a hurry, to someone that might just say, "What the hell are you looking at?" And then just say, "May you have a great day," or not even saying it, just wishing it in your mind. It's so there's a phrase that it's commonly used. Mm, It's may all human beings be happy. May all human beings be safe. May all human beings be well. May all human beings find peace. And so you can use that and send it out to anybody, to your mom. Send that to your mom. Say, may you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you find peace. And we start expanding our intentions towards everybody, not just people that, yes, we started with the people that are friendly to us and nice to us,
Mhm.
because that has the potentiality to open up our heart. Because if you want to start with something that you hate, the tendency of the heart is to do this, it's not to open. And then, but little by little, we release that. You know, in our practice, uh, the invitation is to, when we do loving kindness, when we begin, is to think of someone, something that opens up our heart. So, for example, for me, it works very, very nicely and instantly when I think about my cat.
Mm.
When I think about Princess, my heart just expands.
Mm.
You know, if I think of someone else, a person in their relationship, you know, they're good things and they're not so good things. And so it may open it up at times, and other times it may not open up the heart. So think of something. For other people, it works, bringing to mind a religious image, Jesus, Virgen de Guadalupe. For other people, it may be someone, who protected them in a situation of danger, or someone for whom they feel true and unconditional love. And so we began that way, practicing. And then we began expanding our circle, for example, to a neutral person. So now we send loving kindness to someone who we know, but we don't have really a relationship. Like, for example, the mailman, or the checkout person at Costco, or, that we see all the time. And then we send it out to someone who's close to us. And then the last part is we send it to someone who we consider an enemy, or someone who has harmed us. You know. But it takes practice for that. So go easy. Let's begin,
Hmm.
with ourselves. Oh, and then of course to ourselves.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw like a thing that made sense recently that said I'm able to, which goes back to the point of you giving it to yourselves. I'm able to give so much because I've given myself so much.
Yeah.
Like I've worked so much and I've given myself all that. the thing that we need, right? The love that we need, the compassion that we need, the understanding, the empathy for ourselves,
Yeah.
and then being able to then give that to other people. It's a correlation to how much we've done it for ourselves at the same time,
Yeah.
how much we accepted ourselves and all that. So that makes sense.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So that's what I got for today. This is,
Yeah. I was gonna bring up. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind to say his name, but we're having a conversation with Ivan Martinez that all three of us know, um, about same thing about somebody in his life, and he wanted to explain to the person why was this right or why was this wrong, and then I literally just, because he came to visit me last weekend, I
uh,
grabbed him and I was like, you don't have to explain shit, you don't have to use your words, just love him. Like, you don't have to rationalize it, like, just love the person. You don't have to explain anything. You don't even have to open up your fucking mouth. Just like give them that, give that person the love that they need, that they need.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's that the things you're talking about, and like I even smiled, and like Norma caught it too. The thing with the compassion, it could be harsh and shit like that, right? Because that's honestly has been a big struggle for me, and I think I'm starting to understand it of that, because for me it's like, okay, I see your pain, I can see it. I can see it. I can feel it. Like the way you behave also affects my pain. So I was like, okay, here it is. This is what you got to do. You're not even ready to see the pain. And I'm like, here's the solution. Here it is. Like, you don't see this. You see how this affecting you. Well, here you go. The bluntly telling you exactly how this is affecting you. And then just as bluntly saying, these are the results. And if you don't do it, then I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you for not wanting to do that. So like I suffered a lot, and I hurt a lot of people by being so direct about it, and maybe like now as I understand it, even interfering in their own journey
Yeah.
and wanting them again to not do that, right, for my own needs, for my own thing of being like that attachment to like, no, well, come on, you need to do this, you need to do that, and then I
Hmm.
did I did suffer a lot, and I think I'm not alone in that way, because I can think of several people that come to mind now that is that way, right? Like, just because we understand it, and we feel the pain, we want to rush somebody
Mm.
else's journey, or we want to interpret, or let me know what you think, or how how you can give it that nice little bow, or try to make sense of maybe what is happening with me and other people, that we feel the pain, and then we want to rush and help and be like, here, this is what it is, this is that, like, yeah, or even if they don't see it, then I would explain to them, well, this is what you're doing, this is your actions, and it would come from a place of love and wanting to help,
Mhm.
like either myself or them. But my feedback was, yeah, you're being too harsh in how you present that.
Yeah. Yeah. That, yeah, there's a difference between being, you know, open and truthful and
Hmm.
being almost aggressive, you know.
Hmm.
And sometimes we have to check in with ourselves. I know that when I was working as a counselor, my my desire to help others brought a lot of my ego into it because I
Hmm.
wanted to see results.
Mm.
You know, I wanted to see a life-changing moment or a life-changing message coming from me. You know,
Mhm.
that the student would say, "Oh, you changed my life. You helped me." And then of course that wasn't happening because I was too much into it. And
Hmm.
so this again, when I started practicing more of this, and I realized that it's not about me. It's not about even about them. It's about being able to see reality. And when we see reality, and going back to the impermanence of everything, what's the point of holding on to something? What's the point of being trying to be the same? It's not going to happen. So we're going against nature, basically.
Mhm.
And so, you know, now, now, well, from where I stand, is the advice that I give. If it's solicited, it comes from the heart. It doesn't come from the mind anymore. It's I don't I don't think so. I have to check in on that with myself. But when I give advice, it's like my intention is to alleviate the pain in this person. Is not to change him or her. Is not to see an outcome. Is to begin a process, and then they have to do it. They have to walk their own journey. And sometimes when I get too much into it, when my ego gets involved, then I take what it's called the three breath journey. And so if I catch myself trying to convince somebody that they must do something to better themselves, then I think I'm using the wrong approach because I'm too much into it. So what I do is even if the person is in front of me or on the phone, whatever, I take what is called the three breath journey. So I take three deep, slow breaths, almost to reset myself. And it does. And then just taking those three deep breaths changes my perspective, my energy, my way of being. And then it allows me to see with more clarity, you know, what is my intention? Is my intention to change somebody? And because I don't think that what they're doing is right, or my intention is to be supportive and be someone that they can guide them or point them into the direction that may help them with what they're going through. And they're two very different approaches. So yeah, it's just you know it's checking in with myself. Why am I doing this? What is the intention? What do I expect out of it to get out of it? And is what I'm saying or wanting to say coming from the heart, or is it something that's coming from the mind because I read it somewhere and it'll change their life. It's yeah, it's
Hmm. Yeah, that's gonna stay with me. Because
Yeah.
what comes from the heart is love. That's where my mind goes to, and that's what I needed when I was struggling. That's what anybody needs.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the love, right? Because I think what you said is 100% right. Because I was definitely always coming from the mind. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you have to understand this. This is how it works, and this is why this shit is happening. Don't you see? Like this is why it works, and this is how you got to the situation, and this is how you solve the situation. And instead, not validating and not showing up and not being there with that
yeah,
love part to be like, shit. I'm sorry you're going through this. Like this must be very hard, or this is very hard for you, and all that. Completely different. Completely
yeah,
different. And what's funny, what you said, now I'm getting those things of like this has been so helpful and like you've changed my life and all those shit. Once I stopped doing what I was doing
once you
and
let
wanting
go.
to look for that. Yeah.
Once you let
Like
go, yeah.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
now it's actually I see it coming and I see what's happening now because of how I'm changing the approach. But
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's definitely very helpful what you said and the conversation that you carry here because like I said, I know a lot of people have the same intention to help, but we just go about it the wrong way,
right.
and we
Mm-hmm.
need to remember, like you said, it has to come from the heart.
We need to get ourselves out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
All right.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
now
It's
now now Norma, if you're because one of Norma's clients that I know called her a gangster. And it was so funny because you're like in the way of like her making that person think and look within himself, and like that person describes as like, yeah, Norma's a gangster. So how are we gonna describe Pablo then? If Norma's a gangster, then what is Pablo then? The Godfather?
I
I know Jose or somebody used to call you the Godfather already, right? Or
The
something.
OG, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
That's
mean
really
like I,
funny.
I was I was gonna say I'm like he's like the OG. Like I
that's what
gosh
Jose used to call it. OG. Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
yes, if I I hope that I get to to be a fourth of like to gain a fourth of the wisdom, the knowledge that you've acquired, because like just um last time, like the because I've heard a lot about you prior to meeting you from Steve. um but when I first met you, it was through the meditation one,
Mhm.
and like that meditation, we talked afterwards, and just like I don't know what it is about him, but and we're meeting through a computer, right, through a screen, so there's like a lot of barriers there. um but just the energy, the peace, that you project is like, oh my god, like I could just like melt, just by listening to, um not even like the words themselves, but just you. I don't even know how to explain. I don't know what words to use, but just the sound of your voice, like the you have, I think you've come to balance both like the feminine energy and the masculine energy very well, where you have a very almost like motherly energy to you, very nurturing, very loving, um, but you also like have like the strong masculine presence of like you throw those jabs like in a very loving way, but you're like, and I'm just like, ah, okay. It's almost like you prepare me like aquí viene el putazo, okay? And then you're like, ah, and I'm like, oh wait, I was not ready for that. Um, and that's something that like just with these two times meeting you that I'm learning from you, and just all of that to say thank you. Thank you
Thank you.
for being the human that you are now. Um, for your life, your presence, your energy, your growth. Just thank you. Thank you for being.
Oh, I I sit here because I've gone through a lot of pain and struggle,
I bet.
and this is a wonderful journey that I would not change for anything else. I wouldn't. I don't. There are things we always say. If I could live over again, there would be things that I would change. I'm at a place in my life where that doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. It's I am who I am at this moment in life,
Mm. Yeah.
and and I'm fine with it. I'm fine. Everything that I've gone through and everything that is good, bad, or indifferent has been needed in order for me to be here.
Hmm.
So this is what it is
Yes.
right now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Hmm.
So
Thank
thank you,
you. Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, Pablo.
thank you.
Like I was, whatever it is, you got it, bro. Whatever I'm striving to be, you got it.
Got it for
So
sure.
thank you for, like I said, being that. Now that Norma's experienced it even more, of always like saying, okay, asking yourself, like, what am I missing? There's some pain, there's some struggle, thinking about like, what would, how would Pablo react to it, or what would he think about this shit, or like other people, that I look forward to, or look strive to be like, and realizing that there's something wrong and something off when I face what I've been neglecting, and then just, yeah, just thank you, like Norma said, for your presence and being yourself,
I'm going to tell you what my one teacher said, that because I mentioned to you that I'm in a 2-year teachers training program right now. And
Hmm.
I had a question for one of the teachers. His name is Gil. And after I asked the question, he goes, "Stop trying to be like me and
Oh.
be yourself."
Hmm.
Because I would tell him, how are you able to give these talks? And so, you know what, Norma, what you just said, it was sort of what I asked him, and he goes, "Stop trying to be like me and just be yourself."
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. Thank you.
Noted.
Thank you.
Hey,
So
that makes
thank
sense.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you,
Have a
Pablo.
wonderful day.
Thank you. Thank you.
You
And
too.
just as always, you're not alone. Now you know we have Pablo, me, and Norma that are here for you. Um, Hopefully this conversation helped you, and reach as always, reach out to us if you need anything. We'll be available, and I'm pretty sure Pablo's available too to help out. in whatever we can help, and take care of yourselves and each other. Peace.